Hello everyone, I'm Chester44 and welcome to this Let's Play of Riven. Last episode, we did some exploring throughout Crater Island. We managed to find our way back to Temple Island and did some more exploring there and managed to find our way into this building of Gen's, his laboratory basically. We've done some looking around and we have this book here to look in. A journal, I believe it is. So, how about we give it a read and find out what's going on in Gen's mind here? The latest ink formulation has proven a failure. Even when writing in my most promising books, I obtain only the barest glimmer of a connection. It is frustrating to expend so much effort creating a blank book, only to end up destroying it when it doesn't work. There are days when the lab is uncomfortably warm from the flames of these failed attempts. The further I refine each element, the formulations of the inks and papers, the physical dimensions of the books, the more I realize that the list of potential combinations is nearly infinite. It is during moments like these that I despair. Without access to Dunny, my long-term goals may never be accomplished. Nevertheless, there are avenues of research which remain to be explored. I am discontinuing regular observations of the stars beneath the fissure. Although I have been able to track the dark cloud-like formations that migrate through the star field and have proven that their paths are cyclical, without proper instrumentation it is pointless to continue. My general theory concerning the nature of the fissure has remained unaltered since it first appeared. It seems that the fabric of this age has been breached in a way that permits matter to be hospitably exchanged between two discrete but overlapping spaces, much like a link, but the apparent physical contradictions surrounding this juncture defy logical reason. The great column of wind that was formed when the fissure first appeared suggests a vacuum as one might expect in space, yet my early experimentations revealed the presence of a breathable atmosphere. That Atris and Catherine threw themselves into the void is further evidence that it might be safe to travel, but without knowing its true nature I cannot take the risk myself. It is also difficult to say what would happen if I were to reopen it after so long, but it is likely that the results would be catastrophic, given the changes that have occurred in this age since that time. Maintenance on the steam vent caps completed on this date. I am extremely pleased with the continued success of this system. I believe the construction to have been true to the Dunny designs of my memory, another example of the superiority of the Dunny technology. It's ironic that Atris and Catherine unwittingly provided me with such a convenient source of power. As with many of my views over the years, my thoughts regarding the origin of the fissure have changed. I have recently begun to wonder whether it was actually an unexpected byproduct of the changes Catherine and Atris wrote into this age during their escape. Certainly, by casting their linking book into the void, they trapped me here quite effectively, but I do not believe that Atris intended the book to be lost in this manner. Much better to destroy it than to risk the possibility of its falling into unknown hands. Also, had they foreseen the creation of the fissure, they would surely have thought that the vacuum it created would eventually consume the atmosphere of this planet, a fate which Catherine undoubtedly would have deemed unacceptable for her home world. If I had not been there to supervise the construction of the seal, this is most certainly what would have happened, for the villagers were far too frightened to even approach the vortex without my urging. I held on to the belief that it was an unintended consequence of their waiting for another reason as well. I prefer to think that my son had meant for this age to be merely a prison for me, rather than a death sentence. The construction of the imagers has proceeded without fault. It is interesting to see how easily I have been able to adapt the Dunny technology to mimic that of the Ahmad. In some ways, the similarities between the two cultures is striking. I wonder if perhaps there had been communication or commerce between the two cultures in earlier times. Maybe Keta's people were even descendants of the Dunny. It pleases me to think so. A note. It's possible that if I were somehow able to supply the books with a power source of sufficient magnitude, I could suppress the variance enough to facilitate a solid link. It is doubtful that the geothermal cap generators could provide such an enormous surge. Perhaps I could adapt the fire marbles. I've been cataloging the natural elements of this age for nearly 30 years now, yet still I continue to find evidence of the Dunnies' preoccupation with 5. As a boy, it was very clear to me that the number 5 had a special significance to the Dunny society. From the ancient heraldic emblems of the ruling elite to the humble homes of the commoners, it was ubiquitous. Its presence here is obviously a direct reflection of the minds that designed the texts that I used to compose the age. Further proof that that through their art the Dunny masters were indeed creating the marvelous worlds they wrote, and not, as many have mistakenly thought, merely building links to pre-existing worlds. While most of my constructions have been based on Dunny designs, I see now that the ones that I have imbued with the power of 5 are clearly the most beautiful, the most perfect, and I believe the most structurally sound. I am still attempting to determine how the Dunny color symbology reflects this superior design principle. Although superficially it is based on a 6-color system, I am convinced that there has to be a deeper connection to 5. I will continue to investigate. I've finally made a breakthrough. I have succeeded in modifying the fire marbles to generate enough power to hold a descriptive linking book in a stable matrix. I have linked to a new world. It is a harsh and desolate age, but is nonetheless well suited for my purposes. And so I have designated it my 98th. By studying it closely, I believe I will eventually be able to create a more appropriate age for us to settle on. For now, I will build an office and set up my living quarters there, in order that I may conduct my experiments in safety and without distraction. I must admit I am proud of my work. To think that in such primitive conditions I have accomplished in 29 years what it took the original Dunny centuries to achieve. Note. Repair outerwear for work on this world. The goggles may need to be designed altogether. I have begun construction on a series of link sites for each island that will connect Riven with my new office on 98. The Survey Guild has finally completed the site location for each island, according to my exact specifications, and installation of the domes is underway at last. Work on the central power source got off to a bit of a bad start, I'm afraid, but the pace has picked up considerably since then, and I anticipate no further delays. I'm looking forward to finally having a civilized mode of transportation. Due to the rebels' continued disturbance, I've decided to install a coded access system into all of the domes. I'll write that down later. I caught one of my assistants looking over this journal today. I'm glad I've chosen to write it in a language they cannot decipher. Note: discuss security with each guildmaster. No problems expected from the maintainers, educators, and surveyors. Question the bookmakers and builders more closely. Today I heard several more reports of spirit sightings by some of the villagers. It seems that under Catherine's leadership, the rebels, or the Black Moite, as the villagers obstinately insist on referring to them, have obtained a new level of sophistication in their terror tactics, and have renewed their campaign to intimidate the villagers into joining them, playing upon their shared superstitions. The villagers are certainly susceptible to this form of coercion, especially given of late the rebels' increasing acts of vandalism and theft. The Itrim traps have been steadily fruitful this year. Apparently the breakup of the islands has not adversely affected the subterranean ecosystems. Unfortunately, I imagine the rebels are experiencing a similarly generous harvest, no shortage of poison for their darts this season. Such morbid issues aside, the sudden availability has allowed me to refine a particularly pleasant extract for my pipe, one that is smoother than any of the others from recent years. Chemical analysis of one of the rebel knives has yielded curious results. Its composition contains elements that are unlike anything I've encountered on the islands. It appears they have access to a resource of which I am unaware, perhaps a mine or an uncharted island. A note. Most of the knives have been found on the south side of the village. This is the same area in which there have been reports of people mysteriously disappearing. I think a closer inspection of the area is warranted. The fact that they leave these distinctive knives as a sign of their presence concerns me. They're growing more bold, and seem to no longer fear discovery of their hideout. The latest measurements indicate that the recent trend has continued. The movement of the islands has slowed tremendously. My previous estimates predicted a total collapse in approximately 3 months, but with the new figures I am uncertain. I have merely I have merely nearly finished writing the 99th age, and I have every faith that it will indeed be a safe place for us to relocate to. Yet it would be helpful to know what has caused the halt on this age's breakup. Is it possible that it's stable after all? If so, I must discover how this age differs from my less successful attempts. My examination of the 98th Aidard age has thus far proven inconclusive. Or perhaps someone is repairing the damage to the 5th age? If so, it would almost certainly be Atris's doing. I have reluctantly decided to abandon my experiments into the behavior of the water of this age, as there are more pressing matters on which I must now concentrate, leaving me little time for such speculative research. For future reference, however, my investigations up to this point have revealed the following. I believe the remarkable properties of the water to be caused by a life form that resides in it, specifically a type of bacteria. I am imagining a motile unicellular organism, but one with structures capable of holding bits of water, whose combined effect, via surface tension, a stronger force, causes the composite body of water to move in response to the heat. Prolonged exposure to extreme heat, for example a period of extended boiling, seems to kill the bacteria, which would explain its dramatic aversion to heat sources. Unfortunately, these theories are still not fully tested, and I remain ignorant both of its deeper nature and its possible uses. An exciting development. Last night, a squad of maintainers stumbled upon a lone rebel scout and obtained from him a most incredible device. It is a crystal that somehow powers these flawed linking books, much as my own system does, but with an obvious advantage. It is small and weighs only a few pounds, making it completely portable. Catherine must have fabricated the device before I captured her. Obviously, with an explicit deny schematic she must have brought with her to this age. If only I'd had access to such a document all these years. Regardless, I can now concentrate solely on the writing of ages, and need no longer worry about building elaborate power supplies for each new book I write. This is a sobering reminder, however, that I must continue to seek an avenue to Dunny. Regaining access to the resources there may be crucial to the completion of my mission. And that appears to be all there is in his book. So let's see. This tells quite a bit. Some explanation about the water there, some information that he has been able to link to other ages, has been discarding attempts otherwise, has ways to get to these other ages, the fire marble domes that we've been encountering, and we have the code in order to get in. I'll write it down shortly. And there's also some discussion about the fissure, the star fissure that was mentioned, and that opening it would result in catastrophic effects. Suffice to say, not really anything good. There is one other thing here. Those are the numbers 9 and 8. 98 hurt. But it's not 98. Do remember, as an explanation, think about our system. We use a 10-number system. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then put a 1 in the tens place in order to make it 10. Gen's writing, it seems a base 5 system, with the rotation every so often, but it's actually base 25. So you have 1 through 25 in the first location, and then when you go up, every one of these is a multiple of 25. So this is not 98 ages. This is 233rd. In essence, Gen has written and discarded almost over 230 ages, all burned and destroyed. All burned and destroyed in here. Just like this failure. He has destroyed many worlds in his attempt to get out. That said, let's see, let me get that code again. Alright. Let me just write it down. We've got that one. We've got that one. We've got that one. We've got that one. And we've got that one. For the record, this code changes in every game you play, so you have to be here. And the code is... Wow, this is actually very one-sided. 18, 20, 21, 22, 24. Wow, that is lazy. I mean, geez. Yen, you weren't really trying this time. Okay. So that's all the information we could get out of here. There is still a door over here that we can investigate. Sorry, a door over here. As we can see Temple Island and Jungle Island over there, we're on Crater Island. And there is a fourth island. Fourth island we haven't visited. Although he has mentioned there's 5 islands, but we can't see it from anywhere. Seems the way up isn't here, so I guess the only option is to head back up. Because the button to summon the tram here is over in here. I don't know why he put it over here. It's weird. Tram should be there by the time we get back. Yep, there it is. Well, I suppose we should get going to this 4th island. See what we can see. Let's go. Very quick and easy trip. Alright. And... seems to be a door over there. Wonder how you get there. Alright, let's head on to the 4th island. That is quite impressive. A lot of these strange tusts and the like around here. This is... oh, there's something under here. But yeah, this is a very fascinating island. Very fascinating. Something destroyed here. And there's more up here. Through here, there's... Huh. That's interesting. There's a bunch of island... well... plateaus of sort around here, floating in the water. Ah, here we are. Alright, what's at the top here? Ah. This almost looks like a map. I mean, this is actually a very nice view. There's nothing around here, though, but still. A map, a bunch of buttons. If we press one... looks like he may have actually found a way to make use of the properties of the water in this age. It's a very crude map, though. Can't really make use of it, in all honesty. With where it is, with how far away it is, you can't really identify much of anything. The most you can really identify is, like, I guess, rough topography? And there does appear to be 5 islands, not 4. That last one is small, though, and likely very far away. Well, I guess we can leave them off for now. It also takes forever for any of these things to raise up. Okay, well, let's turn around and look elsewhere. What's on the other side here? Some building we can't get to. Ah! We have another one of these domes. Can't quite figure out what it is, though. Oh well. I mean, the yellow symbol looks simple enough, kind of line through it. Huh. Just noticed that totem in there. Interesting. There's a bunch of these, and that's interesting. Wait a minute. That is one of the daggers, the Moai daggers. How the hell did they get it up in here? What the hell can the Moai do? And it appears we can't really time this right. So let's just randomly click it until we can get it open. For the sake of getting it open. That said, we do actually also happen to have the code. So, what the hell? Let's go in here and see if this code works. 24, 22, 21, 20, and 18. Yeah, it definitely worked. Atris, like I said, you were very lazy this time. The book is on display and available to us. But there's no power. We can't get in. We need to find a way to provide power to the domes. Fortunately, we can get back out of here through pressing that button on the floor. Alright. So, now the question is, we still have this structure in the middle here. How do we get in? Well, there is actually a way. After all, we can turn these on and then walk away. So if we do that, say, turn this on, and then turn around, once I can, and look at that. We have a way in. here, we can actually take a look at a map. A very interesting design for the map, but this is actually a map of Temple Island. We can rotate it, we can look around, and we can see the Great Golden Dome and the Fire Marble. Nothing else, though. So, what is the purpose of this map? Well, obviously to find stuff. And that is effectively the purpose of this island, Plateau Island. To find the fire marbles and identify where they are. Through this, we can see pretty much what each island looks like using the fire marbles. Something that's quite useful. That I will definitely be taking a look in for each of them. As for what the purpose is here, well, think about it. This is effectively a 5x5 map. A 5x5 grid. And each one of those grid squares has another 5 inside of them. Oh yeah, Crater Island is very simplistic. And the dome is underground, but that's basically where it is. There's a hole in the ceiling. So, we have a 5x5 grid, with 5x5 inside each square there. What's the purpose of this? Quite simply, to find the location of the fire marble domes and put them into a grid that is quite similar. Which we do happen to have and know where is. This is the key to providing the power in the Great Golden Dome on Temple Island. If you remember, in the last episode, over there, up in the top level of it, we did happen to find, well, something. A way to provide power. That is absolutely incredible, seeing that. You can still kind of see those over there. And that is way up top. And there's the dome there. Now, the only reason I'm not going to actually write down right here where everything is because of the amount of time it would take to write it down. I do have the book with the hint book with me, so I'm only going to use it for the actual location of each of the marbles that we're supposed to use, just to save on having to write it down. That's it. That said, even though we could do it, we are still missing a piece of information. There's 6 colors that we need to put in, and we need to put the right color in each location. So while we know what each dome is, so while we are learning where exactly each of these domes is, we still don't know what color goes where. And that's the difficulty we need to find. That's actually the lake. This one's actually a little difficult to find. Oh, no, wait. I see it. Yep, there it is. Right here. In that square. Well, that's 4 of the islands. That just leaves the one single lonely island, which we have not visited, and don't seem to be able to visit. Raises questions, I believe it does. Okay. Let's turn around. What's the final island look like? Well, like a tree stump, basically. With a single dome out there. Fascinating. Well, that's pretty much all there is to look at here. And all there is on the upper level here. But then there's the question. How do we get down? I mean, we do, yeah, we can get down, but there is still the question. Where do we go now? How do we find the colors? Well, there was a door on the other side of the, I swear, that looks weird. It looks like... Okay, I'm gonna come back down because it's a weird thing that I've always noticed when doing this. Yeah, if you pay attention to the crack that is the path that we walk through when we're going down, just take a look. Doesn't it look like there was water in there that it's draining away or something? It's so weird. Anyway, I got distracted. There is one other door on this island, but we can't seem to get to it. Doesn't seem to be any way to get to it. Down here. On the other side. How do we get to that door? Well, I think I'll show you in the next episode, because this one's gone on long enough. Till then, I'm Chester44. This has been a Let's Play of Riven, and I shall see you all next time.